Good evening, friends, and welcome to Chateau Del Nic for another evening of spiritual upliftment, love, and connection as we join together for our Thursday evening service, live from Littleport. Welcome, one and all. Now, we've got lots going on tonight, lots to say, lots to do, and lots happening. So I'm going to dive straight in. I do apologize, by saying thank you to everyone who is joining us live on Facebook and YouTube right this very minute. And of course, a good hello and a fond welcome to all those joining later on in the week who are watching the playback. Now, of course, it is week 2 of 2021, and the world has continued to be interesting, full of strange and weird and wonderful things going on. So it's nice to know that you've got a bit of normality going on a Thursday night with us talking to people that are no longer in the physical realm. Because to us as spiritualists, of course, that is normal. And I often think, actually, when it comes to being spiritualist, we perceive it normal, but everybody does really as well, because we're always asking for help from those that have gone before us, whether we're spiritualists or not. We're always asking for guidance and help from discarnate beings, be it by sending up our thoughts or sending out our prayers. So when I do say it's a bit of normality, it really is. Now, I'm aware, also based on the fact that my other half has driven back from Yorkshire direction today, that it's very, very cold and very, very white up in the north. So to all of you who are snowed in, take the weight off your slingbacks, pour yourself a nice hot cup of cocoa, coffee or tea, and join with us, if you will, as we welcome the world of spirit into our hearts, our minds, and our lives. And of course, no Thursday evening would be the same, or would be capable of doing such without that wonderful, wonderful instrument of spirit, a medium. And we have a very, very, very good friend here joining us tonight. His name is Reverend John Ennis. He's a good old mate of mine. Are you there, John?
Yes, I'm here, Nick.
Hello, sir. Welcome back to Littleport and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you, mate.
Good. Now, I don't actually recall. I think you're out Wisbeach way, aren't you?
Yeah, Peterborough.
Yeah, you're Peter. So has the snow hit you yet?
We had a bit this afternoon, and that was it.
Gonna say it was like God had sneezed and shook his dandruff off in Littleport. We really didn't have too much snow in our way, but I do know that there's lots of it going on elsewhere. So what have you been up to since we last met, young man?
Oh, I've been kept busy doing services here, there, and everywhere, helping people along their pathway. I was at one of your churches last night with Reverend Sarah.
Yes.
Let's just hope you haven't got no ducks running in the background, because it caused no end of problems last night with the internet. We all kept freezing.
Absolutely. Now, I do recall that you were on last night. I had a message from the lovely Reverend Sarah, who was like, any thoughts? And I said, John Ennis. And of course, I got a message back a very few minutes later saying, thank you. But really, it's not me to thank. It's, and I say this not enough, so I'm going to say it. It's your work. One of the things that, especially in this day and age, we forget is that the churches really are what promotes mediumship and what promotes mediums. And it's the word of mouth. It was always historically word of mouth that shared the knowledge of a good and a decent medium. And, it's no different now. Even though we've got all this technology, it's still word of mouth that matters, which is why it's nice to see my newest and goodest friend, Matt, up on the comments. He's remembered that it's a Thursday, not a Wednesday. And he's joined us all the way from Canada. And just keep an eye out for February's calendar, guys, because International Christian Spiritualists unite. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So, John, it's always a pleasure and never a chore to welcome you to Chateau Del Nic. And it's really, really good to have you back, mate. And for all those that are interested and all those that are asking regarding the smoking, I had a couple of bad days, but I'm back on the wagon now. Yes, sir. It will be a smoke-free service, as always, and it'll be a smoke-free evening too. So I'm doing my best. I'm doing the best I can. I did have a couple of bad days. I won't care admitting, but back on the horse. Back on the horse. So there we are. And so now, John, I know that it's the bit that you're always very, very looking forward to this bit. But everyone gets a little bit concerned about the echo.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. All I'm going to say is please welcome to the platform our principal minister and my good friend, Lynn Reverend the Gibda Swart. Are you there?
I am here.
Hello. And what I'm so pleased to be able to hear you, and even more pleased to not be able to hear myself.
And I'm delighted too. I have a new little device which enables me to, it's got a camera and a microphone in it, and it also enables me to sit comfortably. Like so many of you, I'm able to sit on a sofa and relax while speaking instead of having to sit up at the desk with the computer and all that stuff on it. So, and Reverend John, I'm so delighted that it's you this evening that's been chosen for the chair.
The hot seat.
Yes, you could call it that. Sort of a bit like, mastermind. Now, the most amazing thing is this, that while I'm speaking with you, the table is rocking. That I've got I kid you not, the table on which this device is sitting started to rock. And I'm nowhere near it. So we'll all rock on, won't we, John? Obviously, somebody's very close to us and happy about this evening. Well, I suppose you're going to ask me next, Reverend Nick, what I have got to say.
That may well be so.
Well, now, soon to be a Reverend, Tony Swindles. Now, don't tell anybody. Anyway, he may well be the first, actually, and then the other thing not to tell him is that he may well be the first person ever to be ordained without an actual physical laying on of hands. This is another thing. This will be a spiritual first, but we'll talk about that if it happens. Don't tell anybody. Strictly between ourselves. Now then, soon to be. Oh, I shouldn't have said that again. Anyway, Tony Swindles, who, as we know, is a medium. He was concerned because he sent me a message about something called, wait a minute, let's get their name right, Christian Concern. Christian Concern. I thought, okay. And he said, should we be contributing to this? And I thought, okay. And he sent me a link. And when I looked at it, at first it seemed quite interesting. Well, I mean, it is interesting. It was about reforming the Gender Recognition Act inquiry. And it's actually, it was taking place with the Women and Equalities Committee, which is chaired by Minister Elizabeth Truss, by the way, who's up here in South West Norfolk. And and it's a Commons Select Committee. So I thought, okay, I'll have a look and see if we should contribute something, as Tony, Tony sort of mentioned to me, brought my attention, because he thought we should be involved in something like this. Well, when I had a look, I found that in amongst it all, their concerns, they'd written their concerns to the the committee that were looking at reforming the Gender Recognition Act. It's in Parliament, don't forget. It's Parliament that was looking at it. And remember that we have good laws in place already, but this was looking at actually reforming the Gender Recognition Act. You remember about the Fraudulent Mediums Act, which is now no more. At least here, they're looking at whether they should reform it or not. I wish this table wouldn't keep rocking, because in a minute we're going to take off. How amazing is that? Anyway, so whoever is here, to stop doing it. I tell you, I've had to ask them to stop. Now then, let's no. I'm asking, look. Now this, I think they're getting concerned about what I'm talking about. You know that I never do anything without, being in communication with the world of spirit and those who love us in the world of spirit. And this is very, very important. Now, the fact is this, that in amongst it all, this group called Christian Concern had written a whole big Megillah, that's a whole long screed, all the different points of the Act that were going to be considered, and their input from their Christian concerned point of view. And at first, it looked sort of kind of reasonable-ish. I thought, okay. But then I realised that what they were doing was sandwiching in their extremist evangelical views. We understand about those. I won't go into them. And applying it to our legal system that was actually looking to see whether the lives of people who would come under that Gender Recognition Act could be made even more. I wish you could see this. I don't even have my phone here to take a photograph of it. It's over the other side of the room. The table is rocking away, really. So obviously they're concerned too, because there are two things going on here. Somebody said to me the other day, well, I'm a Christian, and because I was saying, well, it's not a very Christian thing to leave people out in the freezing cold, homeless, when there's a church that could be opened, and or at least they could be taken in, or somebody from the church could find a garage, perhaps, where they could find some bedding and so on, so we could get somebody out of the freezing cold. Anyway, so the thing is this, I said, no. I said, yes, Christians, yes, but I was just saying what we expect from Christians, but what we don't expect, as they know, and they keep rocking on here, is that we should be loving of one another as Jesus commanded us, and not leave people out in the freezing cold. And they're obviously agreeing with me. I wish Kathy was in here. If Kathy could come in, she could take a picture of this. I'm sure they'd let her, but anyway, it's stopped for the tick. Now, the thing is this, that what they were doing was, they were putting their very, narrow view, and would you believe it got as far as endorsing same-sex marriage. If somebody, listen to this one, they got as far as saying if somebody became transgender and they had originally been married to somebody of what was then the opposite sex, do come in. If you sit there, Kathy, this table is rocking. So let's just. Oh, there it goes again.
Put your foot on it, Kathy.
No, don't put her near it, because it will really take off and then it will crash. But no, they wouldn't want that to happen, I'm sure. Now, the thing is this, that they got as far as saying, which would be ludicrous and laughable if it wasn't so awful, that if this was, if the if this Gender Recognition Act was allowed to sort of stand as it is, okay, as it is, that without the reform that they wanted to sort of basically go back on it, to redact it, to repeal some of it. The point is this, that they said that if somebody had changed their gender, their sex, so that they'd already been married to somebody who was then of the opposite sex, that would then mean that the church, listen to this one, of course, they speak for the whole church and the whole of Christianity, the church would then be seen to be endorsing same-sex marriage. Right? And if a partner of that same-sex marriage wasn't allowed to veto it, then they should be allowed to sort of say something about that. They should be able to veto their partner's desire for reclassification and amendment of their gender dysphoria and the easing of it and so on, by allowing them to identify as a member of the opposite sex and perhaps have an operation, so on and so forth. So the thing is that luckily this has all been done and dusted. So when I got this cri de coeur from Tony, it was actually something that had already happened, and thankfully, and thank God, they haven't changed the Gender Recognition Act. The inquiry, in fact, now this is the point I'm getting to, the inquiry was made, and they listened to evidences from about 7 or 8 professors. This was a select committee. They listened to the papers that were written, the evidence about it. And in the government view, after hearing everything that those professors I'll tell you, they were a professor of equalities law from Manchester Uni, Dr. Pierce, sociology, social policy, Leeds Uni, Professor Friedman, law, conflict and global development from Reading, Professor Sullivan, sociology, University College London, and Dr. Stock, philosophy professor from Sussex University. Now, those people all gave papers, and the people like Christian Concern, who had sent in their long screeds purporting to be evidential of the damage that it does. Oh, and they got into the cross-dressing as well, by the way. The whole thing, you name it, it was all, no. So this Gender Recognition Act, in their opinion, needed reforming. And Kathy, if you're there, it's rocking again. Just as she goes out of the room, it starts. Now, the thing is this, what I wanted to say was that we as new Christian spiritualists, we are Christians, but we follow the teachings of Jesus. Perhaps they don't, perhaps they don't actually, or perhaps we know they cherry pick. But the fact is this, that we are all made in God's image. And in the Bible, God is Elohim, which is spirit, and we, that's who we serve. And I was tempted to think about the two things. Why should religious people impose their view on a secular situation? What has any of our religious belief got to do with people who feel flaming miserable and would like to feel better? And if in this modern age people can be made to feel better by people who are not going to just pray over them, but are going to get to work on them with their medical expertise and professional, expertise. And why on earth would people, oops, it's going off again. Why would people, just because we say, we believe in God, and we believe in loving kindness, and we believe in the power of prayer and all that, why would we seek to impose misery on other human beings? Because that's what we're talking about here, I believe. So that's my opinion. Now, the other thing is that I think Jesus' opinion, because don't forget we're talking about Christian concern, Jesus' opinion was the same as ours. It wasn't the same as theirs. Now, all sorts of stories about him prove that he was not of the kind of person to say that somebody who is miserable and needs help and stuff like that should not be given that help for whatever reason. And famously, this thing that I thought was really, where, you're really crossing the line when, as people who are claiming to be religious and spiritual, start to dictate what legalities and what the law of the land should be, and how people should behave towards other people when it's not their remit. So the thing is this, that Jesus said in this famous chapter of his life, and Mark, his disciple, reports on it. And the famous one where Jesus is questioned about whether people should pay taxes to Julius Caesar. And obviously, if he said no, he'd have got done straight away, instead of having to wait a while before he got done, because they were out for him, generally. And he said, "Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar. Bring me a coin." That was the thing, you see. So he looked at the coin. Now, on that coin was the head of Caesar, crowned with laurel leaves, and saying that he was the son. Oops, the thing's going again. It really is rocking. And also saying that he was the son of the god, listen to this one, Augustus. And that's what it said on the coin that Jesus was staring at. And Jesus looked at that and he said, you give to somebody like that what they ask for, but you give to God that which is God's. So he was actually defying that coin. That coin was in his hand. He was defying, and everybody, all the Jews around, knew that he was actually saying that Julius Caesar was not a god, basically, although he claimed to be, and that if he needed money, then you have to give him money, but not because he was God, because you give to God that which is God's. Clearly making a demarcation line between the two things. And that's what I think we should take from this idea, that a group of Christians who say they're Christians in every way, they call themselves Christian Concern, they stepped over a line there, and they started to, if you like, delve into secular matters, totally secular matters, trying to put their spiritual spin on it that isn't spiritual at all. But the fact is that you can't bring God into that situation other than to say that he is loving and merciful. And Jesus went on, in fact, in the same breath as I'm speaking now. And after that, they said to him, if somebody, in the Mosaic law, if somebody is married to somebody and someone dies, can she marry she has to marry his brother, and then again and again. And what happens when they go to heaven and they're all, they're all in heaven? and whose wife is this woman going to be, because she has this, that, and the other husbands over on that side. And he said to them, is this where you wander out of the way and go wrong, because you know neither the scriptures nor the power of God? He says, for when they arise from among the dead, they do not marry, nor are women given in marriage, but are like the angels in heaven. But concerning the dead being raised, have you not read in the book of Moses about the burning bush, how God said to him, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. He's not the God of the dead, but of the living. You are very wrong. Jesus was saying they're not dead. They're living. They're living in the spirit. And in the spirit, there is no mortal, bodily functions going on. So there is no marriage per se being that part of earthly life that is necessary for various reasons for human beings to participate in, but not on the other side of life. But he was saying to them, life is forever. Life is like God is the God of the living, not the dead. And what he meant was, you will live on. And he was telling people this, and they just didn't understand. So the thing is this, they then said to him, which commandments are most important to you? And that's famous as well, isn't it? It's all in the same time when he was talking about the separation of body and soul in that way, that we are spirit people, and when we finish with the body, we are spirit alone. And that means that when it comes to bodily functions, we can't, as spirit, decide what happens to those bodies because we think we've got some handle on a spiritual concept, and our interpretation of this book, as she raises the Bible, you can't, there are certain things that if you take it as read, it supports our stance that, if somebody needs to have gender reassignment surgery, so be it. If they are in a marriage and it would render that marriage same sex if they wish to stay in that marriage, or even the fact these people are arguing, well, at the time of taking their vows, it renders it blah, blah. What a load of rubbish is that? So I thought I couldn't let it go, because Jesus himself would have said, he said this, and he actually said to them, and this is a Jewish prayer, of course, which is what he was told from the burning bush. And he would have said, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. That is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God, one Lord. And he says, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your whole heart and soul, your life, and all your mind, with all your faculty of thought, and with all your strength. And this is the first principal commandment, Deuteronomy, by the way. And the second is, you shall love your neighbour as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And that was in Leviticus. So for thousands of years, before Jesus himself was born, he knew that these were the important practices in life. And these people in Christian Concern, and I don't mind naming them, as we have several times,
once or twice,
should take note of that. That's in Mark chapter 12, start around verse 15 or 16 and then read on, because they will find that they are very wrong in their attitude. That I'm happy to say to you that the outcome, by the way, which was that the meeting to do all that was on the 9th of December, and on the 10th they published the outcome, and they decided that the act itself didn't need any particular amendments to it or changes, and that the government are committed to making things easier in general for people with problems with their gender and stuff like that, to make it easier for them. And what they have said is that the certificate that people have to apply for, if they have had this, reassignment, surgery and so on, they have to apply for a certificate to make it a nominal fee. So instead of the 140 quid they were being asked for this piece of paper to prove themselves, that it was going to be a nominal fee, so probably a fiver or something like that, you see. So basically, the government has looked after its population as they were voted in to do, and some of them, of course, they're all members of parliament, and so the government is continuing on its path without any interference from Christian concern, and I was very relieved that I didn't have to be Reverend Tony. Felt that I could write to the government, so I was very pleased that I did not have to, because I did write to people, as you probably know, on behalf of the New Christian Spiritualist Society, pointing out various things where they may be in error, here, there, and everywhere, to various, organisations and so on, and making sure that even Her Majesty herself is aware of certain concerns that I may have about certain aspects. But the fact is this, that I think that we can safely say that we are an inclusive organisation, religious organisation. We welcome absolutely everybody. We don't care what clothes you wear. Oh, they even had a go at people like me, who wear the wrong clothes. Excuse me? I don't need a certificate for that, fortunately. If it has gone down, I shall carry on wearing my men's clothes as long as I wish. And the fact is that, we are a liberal society, and
yes,
we should not impose our views on, people who are making good laws to look after the population, and they are voted in, and we do live in a democracy, and which is more than I can say for some countries who purport to be democracies, a few thousand miles away to the west of us, that have been suffering a bit lately, and of course we pray for them. And that's the thing. We pray for everybody. We pray for all those who are suffering, don't we? And we hope that their lives are much brighter and happier. And we vote our governments in order to see those things pursued and emplaced. And I think that it best behove the religious lot of us to sort of take a step back from that and just do our praying and do our healing and do everything that we do and make the world a little bit better for absolutely everybody, and while telling them that, God loves you, God loves us, and not to worry, and wear what clothes you like, say what, whatever you want to, and be whatever you want to be and who you want to be, without some kind of religious crackpot, cherry picking passages from the Bible to actually back their nasty bigotry and mean mindedness to support that. So there, I think I probably outstayed my.
Lynn, you never outstay your welcome, and we are.
The length of this, and really, this is absolutely rocking.
I was going to say, if we edit out the rocking of the table, you were probably only talking for 5 minutes. But no, it really is. I remember, obviously, this morning when I got a message from you sharing that report, for want of a better term, with me. And, it reminded me of a great many things. I mean, not a few months ago, I was invited by the other company that I work for to speak about LGBTQ plus rights and same-sex relationships, and I did, and some of my words were used within a video that company created and shared. And one of the lovely ladies that was heading the campaign on behalf of BP, Bobby Pickard, she is a force to be reckoned with. She can talk almost as much as you can, I will admit, Lynn. And, you know, she has got a wealth of knowledge and understanding to share. And I think that's important. And looking at the comments, you know, nobody's saying, oh, yawn, bored. Everyone's saying great philosophy. We want to hear. They're engaging and joining in and making their own comments, which is what spiritualism is all about.
And I must tell you that because this is new to me, I wasn't able to put any comments on, so I don't know whatever. I have no idea if people are going boo, yah, get off. You know, I can't see any comments at all. So God bless everybody.
Bless you.
I'll have a look afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, the thing that I find important to remember is that words is what separates us as much as it is what can unite us. I know, let me see, I can't find it. I did move the screen up, but James was commenting about people moving away from religion and going more into the spiritual. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a different description. It's a word, it's a description. And any way of living with a set of rules that reaches out to a higher meaning and a higher purpose is a religion. And it's not the problem of religion, it's the problem of people. And if people want to throw rubbish into religion, they're going to throw it into the spiritual as well, because they see it as an opportunity to take control of us. And they do indeed. And they're not waiting, they're doing it already. So the thing is, it's never a case of moving away from something to avoid it. It's fighting for what you believe and staying where you are, keeping your feet squarely and firmly in place. And in the words of Gordon Higginson, who was quoting Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, admittedly, never giving an inch. But until that point, we should fight the good fight, stand for what we believe, and stand up, most importantly, for each other. And be reminded that there is a wonderful picture on Facebook of me in a lovely blonde wig, and my legs were amazing. And on that note, I'll say thank you, Reverend Lynn, and God bless you.
It's graceful. You call yourself a Christian? Good.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Littleport here.
Oh, yes, of course. And I tell you what,
we've got a wonderful village.
Don't we just? I have to say, to disgusted of Littleport, God created men and women equal, and I look good just the same as both. So there we are. Lynn, pleasure as always. It's nice to be able to talk to you without an echo, and we'll see you a bit later.
God bless. God bless.
Well, now that was a bit of a marathon of spirituality, but very important and very worthy. And you know, it beggars belief. So what we need is some upliftment. What we need is some laughter, and what we need is reminding that Spirit are watching us, giving us guidance and direction and love and compassion. So on that note, I think we need a reading. Let's hope it's one of Alan's particular style. His guides will, of course, tie it in, but give us also some upliftment as well. Alan, are you there?
I am, Nick.
And there's Penny as well.
Yeah, Reverend Penny's with us. Can I just first of all, before we get on to the reading, compliment Reverend Lynn on that wonderful address she just gave. And also, Reverend Lynn, I look forward to your invite to your home for table tipping. I really love it.
Absolutely. It's still, you know, it was really, really amazing, Alan, Reverend Alan and Reverend Penny. I can't tell you because it was so unexpected. I couldn't, and I was looking to see if one of the dogs were in here, or
Oh, wonderful.
I should have remembered, of course, to ask permission to bring you up, because as the old saying goes, if the table's rocking, don't come knocking, but we'll see you later. I'm going to suffer for that one later. Alan, it's over to you, my friend.
Yeah, and to you, Nick. Good evening, John.
Good evening.
I was going to do a different reading, to be quite honest with you, and then I was trolling like I do the internet, and I came across this, and it absolutely sort of like thumped home, if you like. And I think this will tie in extremely well with the service so far. The lady that wrote it is Christina M. DiCarlo, and she was physically scarred, and the bigotry around that, she actually wrote this poem. And it's called Every Scar Has a Story. Every scar has a story. What will mine tell? What will come of this when I'm better, when I'm well? I want my scar to tell of how I overcame, of how I made it through, of where I have come from. I want my scar to whisper about the pain I faced, about this very hard time, about the marathon I raced. But mostly, I want my scar to speak of something greater. I want it to shout about my living creator. Let my scar be evidence that there is a loving Lord who fought my scary battles, on whose wings I soared. Let my scar proclaim for that all things work for good, that by myself I couldn't, but with my God I could. Let them take a look, let them peek and see. My scar shows God is great, and it points to him, not me. Thank you.
Fantastic. And I always say the comment, and sometimes people think I'm joking about how it ties in. And of course, I'm reminded and was reminded by, when we were talking between Lynn coming off and you coming on, and I mentioned that it was a marathon. And then it's in your reading, and we're not that organized to be able to collude between each other as to what's going to be discussed, because everyone knows that I'm difficult to get hold of at the best of times. That was absolutely wonderful, Alan. And here we go. Wonderful words from Tony, wonderful poem, lovely. There we go. An amazing poem. Thank you so much for sharing. Into a different discussion at all, but it's wonderful how Spirit makes use of everything we do as a way of life, as a people, as a group, to actually hammer their message home, and I just think it's wonderful. So thank you as ever for always being a part of that process. We used to.
It's an honor, really, Nick, to be quite honest with you, because at the end of the day, we put this collar on to serve.
Absolutely.
And it is during these times and when you're giving people upliftment and know that you've contributed in that sharing of Spirit, that you feel, yes, that is what I put this on for.
Yes. Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you, my friends. And of course, do stay around for the end. As ever. We're not joining all together to sing the hymn this week, because as Reverend Lynn pointed out last week, I was right. I'm going to keep that one because that needs carving in stone next to the 10 Commandments. Anyone agreeing that I was right about anything, let alone Reverend Lynn. So I'm kidding, of course. So thank you for sharing that, guys. And I will see you all very, very soon. Mwah!
See you later.
God bless. Wow. Well, Alan has, as always, got good friends helping out upstairs. John, are you still with us? Have you got lost in the gin, as was mentioned in the comments?
Yeah, I know. Nobody mentioned your brandy and coke, though, did they?
No, they don't, and it's quite a big old glass as well.
It's gone. Awesome.
I'm saying that. I'm saying nothing. I'm part of the Good Friends Club now, so I can't quit. No one can quit, and we all have to be nice to each other. Well, speaking of being nice to each other, it's all about love, light, laughter, and upliftment, but most importantly, healing. So now is the time in our service when we send out that healing, because I hope you're ready, darling, but we've got the healing, we've got a hymn, and then it's over to you for the rest of the night. Yeah. I've got my recipients sitting down here very, very patiently waiting. Well, they're sitting down there waiting. I don't know whether they're patient still, but we'll find out later. But they're grinning, so that we must be all right. So now, friends, we join together to send out our love and our upliftment to all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort. During the week, I quite often get sent messages of requests for healing. And of course, this week has been no different. So I have been keeping a note of all of the names that come through. So whilst you send out your healing, of course, think of all those who you know who are in need. But also on the list this week, we have Nick and Brian and Andrea and Chelsea and Ruth and Donna and Simon and Lynn. We have a Kathy too, I would like to add to that. We have a Jessica, we have a Tony. We also would ask for healing at this time for a few very good friends of mine who want to remain nameless. And this is important. We don't need to know the names or the faces of where that healing's going to go. Spirit knows, God knows. We just have to ask for them. And that is the beauty and the wonder, truly, of healing. And so as we join together and send out our healing thoughts, I will read out the healing prayer as ever, which will then be followed by the healing video with the music and the candles, and end with the word Amen. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother God, here we bring unto you all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them. Both those we know, those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them, we ask for them now. Amen. Well, friends, thank you for partaking in one of the most important parts of mediumship and the spiritualist life, sending out your love. And at this time, I would like to welcome all of our many new names that are popping up in the comments tonight, but remind all of our familiar faces that you can still have your say. Don't feel that you can't speak, because I know most of them would anyway. But that's, it's wonderful to see a community building around the work that you do. It is the highest honor, really, for anyone who works in service, to know that everyone just gets on with it and everything goes on and gets on with it. It's just amazing. I see all of the same names each week coming together, chatting amongst themselves, in other locations on Facebook and all over the internet, chatting as well, be it part of the meditation group that we've got on a Wednesday night, and I think they're adding a Sunday as well now. Be it as, you know, the crossovers between all of the different churches, you know, and not just churches of the New Christian Spiritualist Society as well. You know, it's wonderful, because for all of our faults as a race, the one thing that humans do right is build communities. As much as there are members of them who knock them down, we build communities, and we don't care what people look like or are wearing to be part of them. I think I might have been inspired by a Reverend Lynn rant there. So moving on, it is time to have a bit of music before we have some mediumship. And let's see where my button is, because it's all still very new to me. I have been practicing today on Reverend Lynn while she was waiting for the service, showing her speed skating and much like. But this week is Charlie Landsborough, my forever friend. And so let's see if we can get this up on the screen. There we are.
Everybody needs a little help sometime. No one stands alone. Makes no difference if you're just a child like me, or a king upon a throne. For there are no exceptions. We all stand in the line. Everybody needs a friend. Let me tell you of mine. He's my forever friend. My leave me never friend. From darkest night to rainbow's end, he's my forever friend. Even when I turn away, he cares for me. His love no one can shake. Even as I walk away, he's by my side with every breath I take. And sometimes I forget him. My halo fails to shine. Sometimes I'm not his friend, but he is always mine. He's my forever friend. My leave me never friend. From darkest night to rainbow's end, he's my forever friend. If you still don't know the one I'm talking of, I think it's time you knew. Long ago and far away, upon a cross, my friend died for you. So if you'd like to meet him and don't know what to do, ask my friend into your heart, and he'll be your friend too. He's my forever friend. My leave me never friend. From darkest night to rainbow's end, he's my forever friend. He's my forever friend.
Wow, thank you for the suggestion for that particular hymn. Oh, 1 second. Give me. Well, it's gone. YouTube, of course, always difficult. That was Charlie Landsborough, My Forever Friend, which was actually a favourite of my grandfather's. So I think it was a lovely, lovely hymn, lovely song, and a lovely choice. And the words, of course, tied in very much with what was going on with us tonight. So now, friends, is the time to hand over this service for the demonstration of life eternal. Now, I did say just before that, I loved the way that our community was building together and people were talking amongst themselves. I will, however, say that it took a bit of a dramatic turn, because Matt asked the question. I hope that even after the pandemic, you guys will still find a way to stream the services. Looks forward to seeing them every week. And of course, we are coming up with plots and plans on ways of making sure that happens. So we will. And of course, Tony confirmed that he would be doing it as well. And then Mandy asked why there was no singing this week. And of course, Michael then turns around and replies, double glazing is hard to shatter. I take it all back. I'm kidding, of course I don't. Thank you all for continuing to mock me as much as you possibly can. It's all part of the service. What can I say? I did realise, of course, that my microphone was still on while I was joining in at the end there, but never mind. At least we know that I've still got no windows, and so I just have to board them up. So, friends, now is the time, of course, where it's up to John and his friends to prove life is eternal. And in order of the arrival, which is exactly how people are sitting on my screen, our first recipient tonight is Brian. Are you there, Brian? Can you hear me?
Thank you. Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Fabulous. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And I'll now get out the way and leave you two to it.
Thank you very much.
Evening, Brian.
Hi, how are you?
Right, let's have a look. I've got a gentleman coming in straight away for you. And he's coming in at a bit of a rush. So I feel with this gentleman, he'd come in, say his piece, and he'll go again as quick.
Okay.
And I've got to say, in life, while he was here, he was very similar. He was always on the go. He always had a list of things to do. But while he's coming in around you, he's going, stop sitting on the fence, stop sitting on the fence. He says,
Right.
You know what you want to do? So he says, get on and do it. He says, stop. He says, stop blaming everybody else. He says, it's only you that's stopping you from doing it. So what he's saying is, he says, just go for it. Go for it. So whatever the ideas are, or whether you're moving in a new direction, he's saying, go for it.
Okay.
He says, don't keep putting it off. He's on about keep going, go for it, go for it. And he's also saying as well, he says, right, he says, you need to walk with a straight back and your shoulders back. He says, and be proud of who you are.
Right.
So it's not, don't hide yourself away. Be proud of who you are. He says, people will either love you or hate you. He says, there's no right way and there's no wrong way to do something. He says, but at the end of the day, he says, you have to be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, always be proud of yourself. And he's saying, I do feel with this gentleman that what he's telling me is, he says, I wasn't clever as in academic. He says, but I understood life. He says, and as long as I was proud of myself, he says, it didn't matter what other people thought. So he says, yes, it's nice to be liked by others. He says, but it's not the be all and end all. He says, right, he's saying we have to like ourselves. And as long as we like ourselves, then we can do whatever we want to do. Right, he's stepping away now. There's a lady coming in. And as this lady comes in, she's about 5'4", 5'5". She's quite a rounded lady. I do see that she's got curly hair, and I'm going to say her hair is quite naturally curly, but she does have it in curlers as well. But this lady comes in, she just comes in, she wants to put her arms around you just to give you a big cuddle. And she just wants to say, everything's going to be all right, my boy. She says, everything will be all right.
Okay.
She says, you know, right, she's going on a similar tack to the gentleman, because she's saying, yes, you know what you want to do. She says, what she's saying is, the only person at times that you upset is yourself. She says, you should never be upsetting yourself. She says, you should always be looking after yourself. She's also saying as well that it's time that you started treating yourself as well. She says, you're very good at looking after others. She says, but sometimes we need to look after ourselves. So she says, you need to start looking after yourself. There's another lady who comes in now. As this lady comes in, she's about 5'6", 5'7". She's quite slender as I see her. I do feel that through life, and what she's telling me, her weight used to go up and down, but she wasn't an overly large lady.
Right.
She is telling me that prior to her passing, she did have some illnesses which did affect her weight, but she's also saying as well that her mind was very, very active, but her body wasn't always.
Yeah.
She says she had more bad days than good days, but she's saying that you were always there and others were always there. She's also saying for you as well that, okay, right, this lady's telling me to say to you that you very much take after her.
Right.
Not on the outside, but on the inside. And she's saying, you've got a knack of always saying the right thing at the right time.
Okay.
And she's also saying as well, she says, you always seem to be in the right place at the right time. You may think it's the wrong place at the wrong time, but she's saying, no, it's the right place at the right time. And she says, you bring so much love and so much support to other people. Although you say anybody would do it, anybody wouldn't do it. It had to be you to do it. And she says, keep doing it. Okay, right. We're not on about your earthly work. We're on about your spiritual work.
Right.
She's saying, go and do it. Go and do it. But remember, she's saying, it's not what you want to do, it's what they want you to do. She says, you know what they want you to do, and you keep going, no, I can't do that. And they're going, yes, you can. It's right. Okay. What she's saying is, yes, you trust them, but sometimes they push you a little bit too far too soon for your liking. And you start doubting. And she's saying, don't doubt. She says they wouldn't push you in that direction if they knew you couldn't cope. And they know that you can cope. And what the lady's saying as well is that you have got a lot to offer people. And you will offer people a lot. Although it may seem a bit awkward to you at the minute, but she's saying, you will make a great mentor further down the line. Okay. And as she's looking now, she's going, the other lady and the gentleman are both joining her, because what they're all saying is, you've mentored a lot of people through your life already in different aspects of life, but you're going to carry on mentoring people for many more years to come. And They're saying, as much as you may think, oh, it'll get easier as I get older and I'll get a bit of peace and quiet, they went, no, life gets busier and busier the older you get. They said, when you're 16, you want to be 20. When you're 20, you want to be 30. When you're 30, you want to be 60. So everybody will go away. The only trouble is when you get to 60, there's more people in your life than there was when you were 30. Yeah. The only thing is you can't move as fast, so you can't get away from them. So what they're saying is, yes, you have got a lot to look forward to. They're also saying as well that you also need to start putting things down in writing. This is not just spiritual, but they're on about earthly as well, because they're saying you've got so much going through your head all the time. You can't be expected to remember everything. You don't have to write a book, just write down one word or two words, something just to jog your memory when you look at it. Oh, I forgot to do that. I forgot to do that. But they're saying it's all about, oh, okay, right. It's all right. They're showing me a clock and it's nothing to do with Nick. They're showing me a clock. And what they're saying is time management. You need to start managing your time better. They're saying you're giving everything to everybody else and then you don't have time to do what you need to do. So they're saying time management. Oh, okay. And the lady who's very similar like you, she's going like this with her finger and she's going, remember, I used to say no as well. So she says you need to understand what the word no means, because you keep going, oh, okay, thinking, oh, they'll go away. She says, but they won't go away because they'll all be expecting you. So she says, sometimes we've got to know when to say no. But as I say, there's so much love from these ladies. Also from the ladies, I've got to give you a sherbet dib dab, and I've also got to give you a steak and kidney pudding.
Right.
And the gentleman's come in and he's got a smile on his face and he's going, I won't tell anybody. He says, but if you go round the back, he says, there's a glass bottle of shandy and a number 6 cigarette for you.
Right.
So he's just, and the shandy, I don't know if you can remember it, you don't look that old enough, but it's the dark brown bottle. So we used to think we were grown up because we were having a beer, but in actual fact, it was a bottle of shandy. And he's leaving a number 6 cigarette next to it. He's not leaving any matches, so I don't know how you're going to light it.
I don't smoke anyway.
No, but he's just giving you it as a treat.
Yeah.
Because he's saying, you thought as a youngster you got away with murder. He says, no, you didn't. We knew what you were up to. We just let you practice and learn life's lessons. So a great deal of strength from this gentleman. And the gentleman's very proud of you. But a lot of love from the ladies. And I'll leave all that with you, Brian, if that's
Thanks
all right.
very much, Jim. Much appreciated.
Okay, pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again, Brian. It's nice to have you back. I think you've been with us once before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've tried logging a few times and watching.
Yes. Well, you're always welcome, of course. But for now, thank you. And do stay for the end.
I will do.
See you soon, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Em.
God bless. Well, friends, I've just been and refilled, as John described it, the brandy and Coke, if only. I'm going to hand over to John again for our next recipient. So, Andrew, get ready. In the meantime, I will just say, don't worry, nothing, you guys won't be affected. But there is a slight technical glitch at Chateau Del Nic. And I'm going to have to reboot my internet. So I'm going to be disappearing for a moment, but I know you're in safe hands and in good hands. So I will be disappearing shortly, but I will be back before the end of the next reading. I'll set my clock and make sure of it. For now, Andrew, are you there?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Excellent. Good signal, good sound. I'm getting out of here and I'll be back shortly. God bless.
Good evening, Andrew.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, not bad, you?
Not too bad.
Good. I have got a gentleman here, but I need to bring this lady in first. And once this lady comes in, she's a bundle of energy. and she is a bundle of energy. And I've got to say, I'm seeing her in her younger days, because she's telling me as she got older, her movement got very limited. So she doesn't want people to remember her that way. She likes people to remember her where she's on the go all the time. But this lady comes in around you, and she's here giving you so much love, and she's also here to give you a lot of upliftment. But she's also wanting to give you a push in the back, because she's saying, get on with it. She says, she's still breathing. She says, it's all about moving. You're not moving house, don't get me wrong. But she just wants you to start enjoying life again. She says you have got a lot to look forward to. She's making me very aware. I don't know if it's you or somebody very close to you, but she's making me very aware of pain in the lower back area and also around my kidneys. So I don't know if it's that you're not drinking enough water. Well,
Yeah, I'll talk about that one.
Yeah, she's, as I said, drinking water, the discomfort around your kidneys is gone. So it may be that you need to drink more fluid. But as this lady, as I say, this lady, she just wants to fuss around you and make a big fuss of you. And she just comes in with so much love. I do feel with it, another lady coming in. Now, as this other lady comes in, she's about 5'5", 5'6". With this lady, my feet are starting to swell up. So I know it's like a water retention type thing, which she's making me very aware of ulcers around her ankles and lower legs. So I want to say that this lady would have suffered with ulcers, but she's also telling me about elastic stockings. So I know she would have had support for the bottom of her legs, because she's telling me she couldn't wear the new ones, she had to wear the old ones. She had a little bit of giving. She's saying I wasn't as bad as Laura Batty, but she was getting that way. She's just stepping aside at the minute. I want to give you something now. As the gentleman comes in, I just feel very laid back with this gentleman. Don't get me wrong, I feel he was a very hard working man, but I just feel that nothing ever seemed to bother him. Okay. Outwardly, nothing ever seemed to bother him. He's just telling me he kept everything to himself. He was a gentleman as well who could control his emotions. But as we're talking now, I can feel the emotion building up inside of him. Because he comes forward, and what he wants to do, I don't think he ever did when he was here. Because he just wants to shake your hand. But more importantly, he wants to put his arm around your shoulder and just say that he's so proud of you. And he's just saying, you have made, the person you are, you have made yourself. He says, you're very strong on principles. He says, and you're very strong on family values. And as we go on about family values, he's not going to open it up. But what he's saying is, you have done all you can with regards to the family. He says, it's up to them to sort themselves out now. He says, you've done all you can do. But he's saying there's some lovely surprises coming your way this year. And there's a lot for you to look forward to. Okay. Right. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. The gentleman's telling me about a wedding. So I don't know if you've heard about a wedding, but if not, you're going to hear in the next couple of weeks about a wedding later in the year. And he's saying providing they time it right, it should be able to go ahead. Because I want to say with the current situation, people are getting hard about it. But he's saying everything will be fine. Also, with this gentleman as well, he's on it. He's telling me that this year you need to get out in the garden if you can.
Right.
I don't know if you like gardening or not, but he's just saying it will give you something different to do. And he's just saying, chuck stuff in the ground. Don't worry about it. Just put it into it and see what happens. He's going, if you want to put veg in, put veg in. If you want to chuck flowers in, chuck flowers in. You'll be surprised at what will grow. Okay, I'm getting the smell, and he just showed me a packet. I'm not saying it's him, but somebody in spirit who would have smoked Hamlet cigars. And I've got another gentleman as well who would have smoked a pipe in spirit, because I'm just getting the smell of pipe tobacco coming in. There is another lady who's coming in now. She comes in and she's got a homemade apple and blackberry tart. So I don't know if you can remember that back to your childhood, but it's a lady who was a very good baker. I'm also being told that I've got to give you, I don't know if somebody used to go picking fruit in the summer or if we had like bushes, because I've got gooseberries, red currants and black currants that I need to give you. And somebody's just on about strawberry plants as well.
Youngster.
Yeah, but they're all, it's all about memory links. And what they're saying is as well that your memory is as strong now as it was when you were 18. So they're saying, don't doubt yourself. You've lived a lot in your life, and you've still got a lot more to do in your life. They're also saying as well that you will have a bit more influence on the younger generation. So I don't know if you've got grandchildren yet or not, but I just see lots of children around you, and they're saying you will be a big influence on them.
Yeah.
I've just got a lady coming very quickly. I don't feel she's family, but she's telling me that she knows you. She's about 5'5", 5'6". I know this lady, a spiritual lady. I also feel with this lady that I live to quite a good age, but I do feel with this lady my mobility in later years, because she's just showing me a wheelchair. So I don't know if she was in a wheelchair or not. But she just wants to be remembered to you, and she comes through with a lot of strength for you. She's also saying as well, don't get upset, you will remember your dreams.
All right.
I know that's a weird thing to say, but she's saying you will remember your dreams. The harder you try to remember them, the more you push them away. If you just say, oh, I had a dream last night, but I don't know what it was about, during the day, they will bring it back to you. And it's going to benefit you in the long term. So, as I say, a lot to look forward to. Right, okay. I know at the minute it's very, very awkward, but they're on about an eye test. So I don't know if you're due an eye test at the minute.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, because they're saying a change of prescription coming your way.
All right.
So yes, so yeah, right. Yeah, change of prescription, and that should alleviate your headaches. Also, whoever the female is around you, who is a little bit wheezy at the minute, they're saying the warmer weather is around the corner and everything will be fine.
Right, good.
So a great deal of love from the ladies and a great deal of strength from the gentlemen. They just want you to know that they're all around you, giving you strength, giving you support, and you're not on your own. And if younger generations and neighbours want to help you, let them.
Yeah.
You don't need to feel guilty for it. So I'm going to leave all their love and all their blessings with you, Andrew, and I hope that was all right.
Right. Thanks very much.
Andrew, good to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us. Do you know what? I've had a couple of comments. I figured it out in the end. Once I got back online, there is a bit of a funny sound going on, which I managed to fix by muting Andrew's microphone whilst people were talking. And I think that's a good point of Spirit reminding me that I don't have to mute Lynn anymore. So thank you for that as well, Andrew. But I hope you got all you needed from that. I'm sure you did. And we'll see you later on. God bless, mate.
Thank you.
Bye. Well, it's that time in the evening where we invite usually four, sometimes three, but mostly two very special individuals onto the screen. We try and get the other two in as well, but it looks like one of them's hiding tonight. At least one of them, anyway. Oh no, we're there. We're ready.
What, the little one or the middle one?
Both. It's
No, they've got to come back.
It's that time in the evening, so I'll ask the question. What time is it, Hannah?
Bye.
Bully's special prize. How are you, my lovelies? How are you?
Good. We're good.
Good. I see Sam and Henry have joined us at the last minute there. So nice to see all four of you. Have you been keeping busy?
Yeah.
Good. Now, that is the main thing. I know we've been chatting about various different issues and things, especially today. I just want to say publicly thank you for that. It's very important to know that people are watching out for me in such fashion. For those that are watching for the first time, no, we have not lost the plot. Back when we had a physical building, we used to have a raffle at the end of the night, and the very last prize was always Bully's special prize. For those that have never seen it, it's a program called Bullseye. It's on YouTube. And of course, whilst I was away for a few weeks, a certain young lady stole my catchphrase that I stole from Jim Bowen, and she kept it, and we got her a bully. And we thought, why not raffle off the readings? And of course, so there would still be a Bully special prize. And so that is what we do every week. So get used to it, because we're nuts. But no, I think we are uplifting and light-filled. So thank you as ever for introducing our final reading of the evening. And we will see all four of you at the end.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bless you. Bye. I just love that bit. Well, she's been very, very patient, is Susan. And here she is. Susan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. And I think your technology is working much better than last time too, by the sounds of it.
Oh yeah, look, hands-free.
Hey, wonderful. Well done. Right, well, I'll get out of the way and leave you to.
Okay.
Hi, Susan.
Evening, John.
Right. I've got to I'm going to say it's a man. Yeah, it is a man. I've got to bring this gentleman in, because if I don't bring him in now, I don't know what's going to happen for the next 10 minutes, because I am absolutely freezing cold with this gentleman. So I'm going to say towards the end that he did feel the cold a lot, but he's a gentleman who liked to be outside. He's coming in. Oh, he stood behind you. He's behind you now, and he's just putting his arms around you and giving you a great big cuddle, because he says, that's what you need at the minute. He says, you need a big cuddle. But he wants you to know how proud of you he is. Because he says, it's not been easy. He says, but you're standing on your own 2 feet. He says, but more importantly, he says, you're giving back as much as you've got. He says, so it doesn't matter what people throw at you. He says, you wrap it up and chuck it straight back at them and add a little bit more. And he says, keep doing it. But he is so, so proud of you. And he wants you to right. What he's saying is, you've been looking at yourself over the last week and it scares you because you think, have I changed for the worst or have I changed for the better? And he's going, you've changed for the better. He says, the real you has come back. He says, I remember when you were 12, 13, 14 years of age. He says, you never took no prisoners then. He says, you don't need to take any prisoners now. But he does. He's got so, so much love for you. He's also showing me for you as well. I've got to give you a scooter with white wheels, but it's got the metal spoked wheels, but it's got white tyres, and it's a big chunky one. And, you know, you see them today, the kids, oh, we got an old thing like that for. But go back sort of 15, 20 years, they were the bee's knees of scooters. They had a big brake on the back, and he's just showing me tassels coming off the handles. He's also showing me a doll's pram. Right, okay. Right, he's showing me a doll's pram, but it's got an action man in it. And I'm going, where's the doll? He says, she wasn't a girly growing up. She was a boy girl growing up. So, yes, there's a pram that's to accommodate your female side, but the action man is to accommodate the boyish side that's inside you. Because he's saying, as you were growing up, you were a right little tomboy. But he's saying he wouldn't change you for the world. And he says, some things never change. He says, I can't remember the last time I saw you in a dress or a skirt. He says, you've always got trousers on. He says, so some things never change. He's also going on about, as well, he's going, leave your hair alone. He says, stop changing the colour. He says, I never know whose house I'm going to. So he's just saying, leave your hair alone. He's also saying as well that the boy side of you is coming out. And he says, in respect of, if you want to have the tattoo done, you have the tattoo done. But he's saying, if you have it done above your elbow and above your knee. Oh, no. Well, okay, it doesn't matter on your legs because you always wear trousers or jeans anyway. So he says you can have it wherever you want on your legs. He says you never wear skirts. But he just comes in with so much love for you. I do want to bring this lady in now. And as this lady comes forward, she's quite a tall lady, 5'6", 5'7", maybe even 5'8". She's quite a tall lady, quite an elegant lady as well. I do feel with this lady that as much as she would, okay, right, that's weird. She's just telling me a spinster. So I don't know if she was a spinster. So I don't know if you would know a lady who wasn't married, or it could be she's a lady who didn't have any children. But as this lady comes in, she's just coming in around you. Because what she's saying is, you've got a brain, my girl. She says, so you go and use it. She says, people don't like being put in their places. No, I can't say that to her. Right. Right. What the lady's saying, and the gentleman hinted at it, he said, don't change your hair colour. The lady's going, ladies with your colour hair aren't supposed to be clever, so it shocks people when you are. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying there. But she's saying, no, you go for it. Yeah, she's saying, you go for it. Now, the other lady who comes in, this other lady, she comes in, she's about 5'4", 5'5". I feel I'm quite a rounded lady, but as I progress through life, I feel I've got a lot of breathing difficulties with this lady because I've got a real tightness in the centre of my chest with her. But I want to say that this lady, her life revolved around family. She loved her family. And she comes in around you and she's going, although your priorities seem different to others, she says, you are still very family orientated. She's telling me as well that you have been an absolute martyr. She says you've put your own peace of mind to one side to try and help family. In a certain respect, she's on about it's got thrown back at you. But she's saying, don't worry about it. She says, things are starting to change. And things are starting to change for the better. But you don't need to do anything. But what she is saying is, right, she does say blood's thicker than water. But she's saying trust has got to be earned, not given.
Sorry, what's got to be given?
Trust has got to be earned, not given.
Okay.
But she says, you know who you can trust and who you can't trust. She's also telling me about some really good friends around you who've been very, very supportive and who have helped you enormously. And they're saying they'll carry on helping you. And you've got so much to look forward to. Why am I doing that? Suddenly, I've got a bridge being built between you and the Reverend Nick. So I don't know if Reverend Nick gives you extra support or if you've been giving the Reverend Nick some advice. But the bridge is there for you to
make use
correspond with each other, but also to support each other as well. Because, okay, right, no matter what you say to him, it won't make his hair curl. And likewise, he knows what he can say to you won't make your hair curl.
Okay.
But what's equally important is both of you know it will never go any further. And this is what the important thing is. It will never go any further. So I've got that bridge between you, but I need to give you, Susanna, a friend, a lady who's got darkish hair. And I want to say it's got like a natural kink in it. It's not a curl, it's a natural kink. They're saying, yes, you can trust her. And they're also showing me, can I say, a more mature lady who does be around you as well. And they're saying that lady can be trusted. But they're saying you've got so much to look forward to. Don't be in a rush to move house, if that's what you're thinking about. So don't be in a rush to move house. I don't know if you work or not, but what they're saying is there will be changes coming on the work front for you. And it'll all be about choices. You won't have to take what's given. You'll be able to make some informed choices. And what the lady and the gentleman are saying is, don't sell yourself short.
Okay.
He says, come out of your comfort zone. He says, and aim a lot higher.
Okay.
He says, the more you come out of your comfort zone, the better it will be for you. Now, I've given you that scooter, I've given you the pram, and I've given you the action man. But, right. I need to give you, I don't know what you call them, tip tops. Do you know what a tip top is?
A what, sorry? Tip?
A tip top. It's a frozen, like, fruit juice thing that you put in the freezer.
All right, Nick can tell me later. You know,
They used to come,
what, like a
them
jubbly?
jubblies. Yeah,
Like
they're
a jubbly?
jubblies.
A
Yeah,
jubbly?
thick ones that are called tip tops.
Okay.
I've got to give you one of them.
Right.
Right. Please take this the right way, and I'm likely to get hung for this.
Well, go on.
Do you remember who put the condom on the car exhaust pipe? That look on her face, I would say yes.
I think we just had a bit of a freeze there.
She wouldn't come.
I didn't. I'm sure if I ask somebody, they'll give me the answer.
Yeah, they will. All I've got to say is it nearly gave somebody a heart attack when he went off.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, they are coming in. They're coming in with a great deal of love, strength, and support for you. Oh, okay. I'm being told you've got to stop biting your fingernails, but your toenails need cutting.
Oh.
I don't know. Well, right, what they're on about is keep an eye on your toenails. So if they look at getting a bit too long, just keep them trimmed. But keep an eye on your toenails. Don't take it the wrong way. Nothing bad's going to happen or anything like that. They're just saying keep an eye on your toenails. So a great deal of love, strength and support. And I'll leave all that with you, Susanna, if that's all right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely to see you again, Suzanne. And yes, if you ever do need to talk, I am, of course, here. And I do know that you do have chats with many mutual friends as well. So keep using them too. It's I just love the way it all works, and it's great to be able to reach out to people like yourself who wouldn't normally necessarily have been able to have made it to a village hall on the Thursday night. So thank you for joining us, Susan, and I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Bless you. Well, John, thank you so very, very much. Now, there's been, I'm talking of my technical issues, there's been technical issues going on in the background here. Reverend Lynn has refreshed and is no longer frozen, staring attentively at the screen. So we can now bring her back. In actual fact, I'm not just bringing her back as Rev Lynn, but concerned of Littleport, because if it gets mentioned, it has to be seen to be believed. So I'm going to bring her back, and before she has her final analysis, which I'm going to get in first as well, and say, John, absolutely amazing demonstration. Thank you so much, as always. You and your friends and helpers never let us down, and never let you down, more accurately as well, which is wonderful, and thank you. But as a special treat to everyone, earlier on, and here she is, Reverend Lynn, welcome back. Earlier on, we were talking about Lynn being very, very concerned. I'd like to introduce you to a very old and dear friend of mine. Her name is Tinkerbell Della Petroleus. And there she is.
Oh, I know her well.
I have another angle there.
Yes, absolutely superb. What a wonderful dancer and mover and shaker.
This is her interacting with other people and giving away a bit of branding. Just don't look.
The last time I saw a pair of legs like that, one had a message tied to it.
Actually, I've got an even better one for you now, because you might recognise the other face in the picture. It's our very own Reverend Kathy.
How did my wife get in there?
You'll be
you
glad.
Will choke.
Yeah, I know. You'll be glad to know that I decided not to share
that woman there is leading her astray.
I know. You'll be glad to know I didn't share the image of her grabbing my boob. But it is in my Facebook pictures. So there we are. A little bit of laughter and upliftment. But Lynn, over to you for your final thoughts, of course.
Well, of course, we always enjoy our spiritual services. And particularly, I must say, we look forward so much, Reverend John Ennis, because you have consistently brought upliftment and joy to all those who have attended our services over the years, and they've all looked forward to you being the medium, the visiting medium, and it's such a pleasure to watch somebody like you bring that true survival, and it proves to everybody that we're not just talking to ourselves, and that what we say is the truth, and that what Jesus said was the truth, and what God said was the truth, that there is no dead, there is only the living, there is no dead. And the old thing was, is it all right to disturb the dead, or we are disturbing the dead? Well, we're only disturbing them in as much as they may be very busy doing something else.
Exactly.
And, and they have to, they're asked to stop what they're doing in order to lower their vibrations from their lovely lightness and everything that they're enjoying, and to actually sort of try and struggle back through this dense, grosser frequency that we inhabit in our bodies, and try and make contact with us. And I know that sometimes people wonder why they give us the messages they do, but I always say to people, if you go to sleep at night and you're woken up out of your sleep, just for instance, that's an altered state of consciousness while we're down here, if you're asked to remember things that you did in your sleep, it's very difficult. And in a way, that's what seems to be often the case for people after they've lived their lives down here, and they go on and they're very busy and doing other things and so on, and then they get asked by somebody like ourselves, like you, dear Reverend John, can you tell me something that will be relevant to this, to your loved one who's left down here? And they say, oh, well, she didn't always do my socks properly. And you can think, well, have I got to say something like that? But, the fact is that it's proof. So at least if they remember something like that, it's really good. But I know that some people, feel that they're missing out if they don't get, telephone numbers, road addresses, and what they ate the night before they died and stuff like that. Well, I mean, really and truly, that belongs to the realms of fantasy, mostly. And those on the other side, the lovely messages that you brought through tonight, John, are more than adequate proof, in my opinion. And I should think that it would be more than adequate proof in both the recipients, people that received those communications, and those who are onlooking and listening and wondering at it all. But yes, I do think that, it was a lovely, lovely demonstration of mediumship, Reverend John. And I'm so proud, too, that you're part of our new Christian Spiritualist Society, because I think, it's really lovely to have somebody like you representing the society. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Well,
there we are. Thank you.
We all thank Reverend Nick for all his good work. He does so much work, and he even was able to advise me on the quick what to do when I was.
I have to say, it's the quietest I've ever seen you, Lynn. All I saw was, and I thought, she's being very attentive. There's no movement there. The table stopped wobbling, because that was very distracting. And I thought, I bet the screen's frozen. So I did on the fly send some information through. Yes. And there's been lots of love coming through the comments for you, of course, John, as ever. There's been a few comments about the hair and the legs as well, but we'll kind of skirt over that, if you will. There has been a couple of comments. I will just make a bit of a thing. Where is that comment? I wondered what it meant to begin with. Love the 3 balls logo, Nick. Of course, that means my 3 circles logo, because this logo actually represents spiritualism. It's something that me and Lynn discussed a long time ago about having a logo that literally just represented spiritualism. And of course, spiritualism is about philosophy, mediumship, and healing. And so it encompasses the whole Megillah, as I have quite often heard. And of course, our services do the same. They represent the healing, they represent the philosophy, and they represent, of course, the mediumship. And for that part, John, we thank you so very, very much. And I thank everyone at home for representing the healing and being a part of the healing. And of course, Reverend Lynn and Reverend Alan with his reading for the philosophy. Of course, everyone who takes part, the recipients, those watching at home. And of course, it wouldn't be the same, which I've got to share. You've got new fans, Hannah. You've got new fans now. Where is that comment? I think it was a couple above the phrase, you Jezebel, Nick. Where is it? It's bully time. Here we go. I've got to find it. It's got there we go. That was at least 302 types of adorable in reference to the bully section. Oh, it's lovely. And this is it. We have upliftment, we have laughter, and we have joy. And that is what it's all about. We come together every Thursday night, and I promise you all, we will continue to come together no matter what, no matter where, and no matter how. And so let's all get back up on the screen as we join together for our closing prayer. Here comes Brian. Here comes Alan. Here comes Andrew. I will just mute that microphone. Here comes Sam, Hannah. Here comes Henry and Bully. Here comes Suzanne. And let's make it so we can see us all better. There we go. And let us all join together as we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship, to witness that life is indeed eternal, and that not only can our loved ones watch over us, but guide and keep our feet, to keep us safe and give us wisdom and help in our daily lives. But let us remember, dear Lord, that we are, of course, living spirit ourselves, and that we can do all these things for each other, because we know that you will always give us the strength to climb that mountain as we never ask you to move it. And so until we meet again, Great Spirit, please place a blessing on each person here present, and those who will watch, and those who would like to but couldn't, and all their friends and families, so that your love might shine as a web across the world, binding us all together in your eternal love and unconditional strength. Until we meet again. Amen.
Amen.
Well, of course, thank you to all of our recipients, to all of our helpers and friends, to everyone watching at home. And of course, Reverend John Ennis, give him a big old clap. To Reverend Lynn, thank you to Andrew, to Brian, to Susan for coming on, to Alan for a wonderful reading as ever, and of course to Sam and to Henry there trying to escape the clapping, and of course Hannah and Bully. Thank you all at home for watching. We will be back next week with a medium who I can name a week in advance for once. We will be joined by Carlos Galeana next week for a demonstration of mediumship, another dear friend of our church. And so come back 7:40, Thursday, the 21st of January. But until then, be safe, look after each other, take it easy, keep it safe, and we will see you all soon. And may the peace and the Great Spirit go with you all. Good night, and God bless you.